Okay, this is like a follow-up to the Toyota ignition installation. A couple people left a comment, and they were quite right. I forgot to mention when you're installing this thing. And if I deleted your comment by accident, I apologize. Didn't mean to do that, but I'm sick as a dog. When you're installing this guy here, it must be in the accessory position. So you're going to really hold that key in the accessory position. And you're going to want to line it up with it, again, at the end of the shaft. It's pretty long, this thing. It's about, well, if we do a man's estimation of inches or a woman's estimation, it's going to be a little bit different. But it's about 5 inches long. And down there, this thing is going to have made up with a little guy that you can spin. And that has to be aligned properly beforehand, somewhat properly. Otherwise you might end up jiggling it and locking your key while you're trying to place it in, which is okay because this is new and it should work, unlike the little failure I had earlier when I was trying to pop that out with the pin. But you'll have to go back, hit the release pin again if you hit lock, and do that. So you really want to line it up first, and I always try to default it by holding the key between the accessory and something farther to the right other than lock, and just wiggled it back and forth. A couple times I got it out of place too far and I had to maneuver its mate back in here, down at the end of the shaft, kind of look at it, look where this part is, see the other side there? Oh sorry, that's misleading, I was pointing at this. I should correct myself here. This guy is not the one that goes in, it's this little female end here. Right there. So look where that is when it's in your accessory position. Doesn't move a whole lot from there. So let's get this straight. So it's not going to move too far from there. And make sure that meets up approximately where the pin is down there. And that'll be very clearly visible. It's the only thing you'll really see down the ignition when it's a big empty hole. And again, just play around, default it to the right, so you don't wind up locking it and unlocking it. I did a couple times, but not a big deal, right? Well, until now, where I've apparently buggered it up a bit. And the other thing is, don't be afraid to drill this thing out. It's probably be better, because as you can see, mine is a bit of a mess just from using a drill, and I stopped and decided not to, and I managed to get past it without using a drill and drilling out that little pin. That's the objective of drilling, is you want to drill that little pin that we see protruding right there at the edge of my thumb. So you're going to want to drill where that hole is, right in the center there, and if you have to, don't be so careful about getting one that's exact size. If you're stuck and you don't, you can see where I oversized it there when I zoom in. That's a little too much. But it's fine, this is just an aluminum casing, and as you can see, this thing is only protruding out by, I would say, a millimeter, 2 millimeters, whatever that is. And this is aluminum as well, so you really, as long as you have a titanium bit or even a regular bit, keep it relatively straight. I even find the oversized might even help you to, in case it wanders. When you use a smaller one, you can see where this has been it's been drilled, this kind of danced around there. So you might even do better just going like one size over, where it's just like a 32nd of an inch greater in diameter, and I don't see it doing any serious harm whatsoever. Mine would be fine if I just took it and kind of cleared it up right now. It's got a little bit of a dust in there. So that's it. That's your way to get that out. I remember I mentioned at the beginning of the other one, for Ford and GM, there's another video on here by a locksmith, which is actually really cool. If you happen to have a different type of ignition, which a lot of people do, if you're not Toyota, or if you're not this year of Toyota, here on the old steering column, some of the Fords have pins in them as well, moved to the accessory position. There's a fellow on there, I think you just have to type in like Ford ignition. He drills a little hole between the 2 and the 3 o'clock position, pops the whole head off first, that little piece that you actually hold your fingers onto when you turn the key on those steering wheel mounted ignition switches. That just pops off. Drill a little hole between like 2 and 3 o'clock position, maybe about, I don't know, a few millimeters down, and boom, opening the ignition. Real easy. So if that's your, I know that's got nothing to do with this 98 Corolla, but if that's your situation, Just keep looking for that in YouTube. And that's a very quick way to get out of there. Otherwise you're in a bit of a mess. And that happened to me many, many, many years ago with a Ford. And I wish I would have had YouTube back then. That's it. Bye-bye.